they're getting wild for me. And all the pretty chicks all wanna smile at me. These rap cats, man, they all got this style for me.
And we're live. And we're back. How you going, bro?
That's quite good.
Adios. So this is episode 2. So the first episode, bro, that was 9 months ago.
Was that for the S&P New Way one, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
9 months ago, man. So today on the podcast, we have Levi. Now, Levi is one of my close friends, and his business is New Way Business Development. Now, bro, when I sat down to plan out this podcast, what I did was I looked up a study of businesses. So this is from a university in Sydney, all right? So there are 2.5 million businesses in Australia. There's 400,000 businesses started in 2023. Now, of those 400,000 businesses, 30% of those businesses fail in the first year. And then of that, so that's 120,000 businesses fail in the first year. And then in the second year, 50% of those businesses fail. So, and then after that, it goes up to 80%. Now, the crazy thing about this study is that businesses up to the first 5 years will fail at 80%. Then after that, it starts to drop. So it drops down 20% every year after that. And then if a business makes it past the 5-year mark, they will have a 80% chance of survival.
After how long? After the 5-year mark?
After the 5-year mark, it starts to go down 20% every single year.
Yeah, right. The tactic.
And the crazy thing about this study is the top things that people do to fail in their business is trying to do it alone, scaling too early, poor marketing, failing to pivot, unpaid invoices, and management of finances.
Yeah, right.
So I think that study itself really shows what you do is super important. Because I actually thought that 90% of businesses fail in their first year, but it's actually a lot lower than that.
For the first year, what was it? Then another 50.
So the way it starts out, so it goes 400,000 businesses start in 2023.
Yep.
30% of those fail in the first year.
Yep.
50% in the year after that.
So 80% in the first 2 years. Oh.
80% in the first 3.
Yeah, wow.
So, but then if they make it to year 5, it actually gets better. So they double their chances of survival. And then there's a 70 to 80% chance they'll make it to year 10.
That's sick. Yeah.
So I think like the reason I want to start the podcast like that as well is because all of those things, like trying to do it alone, scaling too early, poor marketing, all these things, this is what your business does to help a business. And I think we want to try and do it alone, but I think it's sort of dropping the ego and going, hey, we need some help.
100%. I think I fell victim to both of them, really. The first one, when I started out on my own, if I hadn't started with Steve, it was an ego hit to be like, yeah, let's join and do the same thing together and not be the one-man show. And by swallowing that ego on that conversation when me and Steve first started up New Way, I think sped up the process and also having the support to obviously handle different, difficult situations, scaling the business first off. And then I think the other one where I guess everyone, or most of the people I speak to, even myself, we overestimate what we can do in 1 year and underestimate what we can do in 5 years. And that goes to show they've overestimated in that first 2 years. That's why you see that 80% drop off. And
Yeah. So what do you think about the other part? So like, how does those statistics, how do those relate back to like what you've seen taking on businesses, and also those top reasons to why businesses do fail? So the scaling too early, the poor marketing, the failing to pivot, and the trying to do it alone.
The try and do it alone is, I guess, just an ego one. It's not everyone. I guess some haven't seen that one too often. I would say the marketing side, and it's probably why we've sort of stepped away from a lot of startups with that properly vetting them first and seeing what they're about and their drive and what's the reason, the purpose behind the business. Because I guess those statistics show it's the mentality is just like they want to start something new. It's exciting, but then when they realize, oh shit, it's that uninformed optimism kicks in, and then it's like, oh, this is actually work. You know, most people that I speak to that just start out, they're like, yeah, I want to work for myself so I have more free time. And then when they start working and they're 6 months deep and they haven't marketed and they've got no leads coming through the door and they're having to cold call 10 hours a day, it's like, well, it's harder than working for someone. And that's why people, it's attractive at first, but then it gets hard.
Yeah, I think when I read that study, I thought the first thing I thought of was the first thing was trying to do it alone. I think a lot of the time is people want the business and they want to do it all themselves to feel that sort of sense of achievement, like they've done it all by themselves. But when you look at all of those things, trying to do it alone, scaling too early, poor marketing, failing to pivot, unpaid invoices, management of finances, and then there was one in there that was fail to raise capital. But all those things encapsulate exactly what your business does.
Correct.
And I think that when it shows that up to the 5-year mark, I think off hard work and a bit of goodwill and a bit of drive, people are going to make it to those 2-3 year marks. But if they can't swallow the ego and put on somebody who does this for a living, that they're not going to make it past that point.
Yeah, I agree. I think, one of the big things that we see, even myself, I fell victim to it, is delegation. Scaling and learning how to delegate, removing that responsibility on the tasks that you look after. That can be a hard pill to swallow, to then give that responsibility to someone else. I guess the way I've sort of reframed it to sort of take that edge off the decision-making process is no one's going to do it as good as you or put as much effort as you, because it's your business at the end of the day. So if they can do it 75% of the effort that you would put in, I would say that's a half decent hire, because no one's going to have the drive to drive the business that you've created more than yourself. What was the other point there?
So trying to do it alone, scaling too early, poor marketing, and failing to pivot was a big one.
Pivots, yeah. Pivot's a hard one because it's also, I think the way I'm thinking of it is like, one thing I have noticed is it's not always the smartest or the hardest working in the room. It's the one that can withstand the most, is the most resilient at the end of the day. So it doesn't matter if you've got your competitors in the S&P game. There might be artists out there that are better than you, but if they haven't got the grit to go through the hard times where there's no leads coming through the door, they're too scared to make sales calls, they're too scared to double down on their marketing because everyone else is, in a fear mentality. Or doesn't matter how good you are at S&P, you're just not going to make it anyway, because the guy he might be 75% as good as the top players in S&P in the actual art form. But if it gets hard, he's like, nah, stuff this. I'm going to make 10, 15 extra calls every day to get the extra business. Well, he's going to make it.
Yeah, what I took away from the failing to pivot is almost trying to do it alone, scaling too early, failing to pivot. When I hear all of these things, all I think is ego, 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 ego. So with failing to pivot, the way that I took that on was that instead of looking at your process when you're not getting a result, and realizing that you need to change something, that you need to adopt a new mindset, you need to look at a different way of doing things and pivot off away from what you're doing. So like when I look at trying to do it alone, it's like, well, that's your ego saying that you can do it all alone and not accepting any help. And then when I think scaling too early, it's like you want to be the big dog. You want the big business, but you don't want to wait until the time is right. And then when I hear failing to pivot, it's just, I think that's more of a self-assessment. And that's what I like as well with using you guys, is that you'll give me the hard truth and the hard reality, but then it's what I do with it. Then I have to go, oh, now I have to pivot. And that's the deciding factor.
Yeah, I guess, it's like with any marketing, it only goes so far. We can, we'll put in 110% to get you the traffic. And then try to convert that with your websites and your advertising and everything else. But then it's what happens from that point of inquiry onwards. If the business that we're working with can't match that, you might get 30 good leads come through, but if you're not calling them, you're not going to get any business anyway. No matter how good the marketing agency is, they're not going to close the deals for you if you've got to call them after. So I think that's a big one that I see.
Well, you guys aren't Uber Eats, right? We're not ordering the clients and they turn up at the front door.
Which there is things that we're looking into now going forward to try offer that sort of guarantee with certain businesses that we work with now that we've been doing it for a fair bit. We can sort of have that, but then what comes with that also is the cost to obviously generate enough leads to then book in enough customers for those businesses. But that stuff's in the works.
Yeah. What surprised me too is that the number was lower than I thought. You know, it says 30% of businesses fail in the first year, and then it's all the way up to 80% of the businesses don't make it to year 5. So, and then after that, what's crazy is how high of a success rate is after year 5. It goes, when I read the study, I think it's about 80% of the businesses that make it to year 10 will be successful. So another thing, what I took away from that, it's also skin in the game, time in the game, not quitting, and it's viewing it like a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
And it can be a very hard mentality because a lot of courses will sell 5-day course. They'll sell how much you can earn off that course, and they're not wrong, but they don't add any extra details. So the extra details of a short course is that you can earn up to, say, 200,000 in 10 years' time. And I think that's if more of the information was around long-term strategy, then I think that we would probably see more of a success rate within businesses. But I guess it's like the fat loss pill. It's like the get rich quick scheme.
100%.
It's happening right now.
That's that. No one has a delayed gratification.
Yeah.
It's like they want it now, but it just doesn't happen now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So when you do take businesses on, this is another thing that I wanted to talk to you about as well. Is we've talked about this the last couple of days. Is living your life by design. So the difference between living your life by design, not default. And that is, I think, this is my question to you, is that do you find that when you get businesses on board, that a lot of them have almost default goals as they come in to talk to you about their business?
Yeah, I would say depending on the industry, I guess one I can relate back to, obviously with working with a lot of S&P artists and going back to yourself is, Paul, what was the question again?
So we've talked a lot the last couple of days.
That's what it was.
Yeah. So the way this Chris Williams video popped up, right? And it says, and he talks about living your life by design. And what I thought about with that is that majority of your life is your business and your work, right?
Yeah.
So when I look at my business, I look at what are the hours that I want to work? How much do I want to make? And for example, like right now, I'm sitting here, it's Tuesday, and I'm sitting here doing a podcast.
Yep.
This is not the most financially beneficial thing for me to be doing for my business right now, but I'm trying to live my life by design, my design.
Yep.
And I think, and my question to you is, when you sit down with businesses, do you find that you do get more people having default goals that they might have seen, through Instagram, I guess the default can be like heaps of money right now, take over. But yeah, my question is do you see a lot of those default goals? And do you think that if a person had more of a life by design around their business, that it might see more of a long-term success?
Potentially, go back to that question with the default goals. I think so. Like one that comes to mind is S&P. Just because I know with a lot of the guys you see in Oz especially, is they see these big artists overseas killing it. Like they've got Lambos, they've got these, they've got Rollies, they've got all this outside cosmetic stuff, which is expensive. So they automatically think that's the goals that they're chasing for with the business rather than doing it for themselves and growing with the business. So I think that would be the default goal it goes into. Other types of business that we work with, I guess when we're looking more with the trades and service guys, I don't see it as often just because a lot of them are just, they've done the trade for so many years. They've got the experience. They've seen how much their boss is making. Now they want to provide more for their family. I feel like the trades and service guys are more family orientated. They're doing it for other people. So I think their driving purpose is different. So I don't think theirs is by default. I think it's, they want to do better for themselves. And then everyone else that we sort of work with, I think it varies. I wouldn't say there's any specific way it goes. I think the industry kind of has a little bit of which way it swings, but it just depends what the big dogs are doing in that industry will then influence everyone underneath them as well. I think that's where it comes from the top.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think a lot of the time it is influenced by who's doing really well. But something that I think about with that is I watched a Simon Beard podcast and it was a YouTube video and it's showing his house.
Yeah.
And he shows you the Lamborghini yacht and he's walking around, great house. And then they ask him about his life and they talk about, what it took him to get there. And it's super inspiring, dude. Like the guy's oozing with passion. And it's so funny that my frame of mind outside of that, when I watched that video, I sat back and I went, oh, I'm just going to go work 7 days, 12 hours a week. And I'm going to, I need to start doing something like this because his life, he enjoys it. He loved his struggle and he loves the goals that he's achieved. But after a little bit of self-assessment, and this is back to life by design, right? Is I thought to myself, I don't want to do 7 days a week, 15 hours a day. I don't want a Lamborghini yacht. I'm not passionate about street apparel.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it comes back to life by design. It's almost like you can take in so much information throughout social media that you almost become someone else's default.
100%.
And you take on someone else's design.
Yeah.
And I think that's what default is.
Yeah, that's a fair point too. Yeah, I agree. If you're looking at too many guys online that are showing the big lifestyles, it's not for everyone. I wouldn't say my personal goal is to be some big Lamborghini yacht owner or massive car. Like there's some dreams for like some nice cars and stuff eventually when New Way's there. But again, working hard for that reason, you're going to burn out. I can work the 10, 12-hour days, but I know I'm doing it for myself, not for these financial extras that I only get one day. It's more I want to grow the business. I want to help people grow. I love seeing people succeed. And I think that as a driving factor, the money will come at the end of it, but it's not a driving factor for me personally, but I can see how a lot of people can buy into it. And that's why you see so many short courses, e-com courses, SMP online courses. Like it's just everywhere and anywhere. But yeah.
What do you think about that with so in regards to other people starting up their businesses? I'm nailing home this subject, but it's something that I've been thinking about is that, do you think that when someone goes to start that business, it's almost blocking out the noise a little bit and trying to design something that is for them?
Yeah, I reckon that'd be a good way to look at it.
Because that's what I get from this long-term study. When I think 7, 8 years, and I think that, and you see that people start drop off over time, which surprised me because I'm like 3 or 4 years and I'm like, oh, I can't see myself dropping off now. That doesn't make any sense. But these things are obviously mistakes that you can help fix. But I think also as well, one of the biggest parts is are you living someone else's design? Is this someone else's default? Or is this genuinely what you want to do? And it's such a hard question to sit with. But there was no question there. But it's a thought that I've been thinking about is designing it.
I think you're designing, and I reckon it can be different for everyone. I think financial drive is a big one. Everyone's have financial freedom to some extent. So I think that can be a driving factor, which I don't think is default.
Let's talk about financial freedom. What do you talk to a lot of businesses and they've give you their financial goals.
Yeah.
What is financial freedom?
It varies. It's subjective to the person.
That's right.
So we've got guys that earn 7, 8 figures.
Yeah.
But it's they're still hustling, they're still grinding, they have the financial freedom, but they're still going in every day. And that to them is the freedom, is just having that, being able to do whatever they want, whenever they want. And then I guess you got smaller guys who was it? Our arborists. They only can take on so many jobs per week, chopping down big log trees and services. Yep. And their goal was just to get an extra 20, 25, 30K a month. Once he hit that, he's like, I just want to maintain that. I'm happy. Yeah. I've still got my weekends. I've still got my family time. He's good. And you got the other guys like the roofers. They want to scale, grow the team. They got bigger financial goals. They got nice cars, the big ticket jobs. Subjective. It varies with everyone. But I think the financial goals, we don't dive too much into the financial goals unless we need to sort of coach them and see what their intrinsic drivers are to help motivate them with things in the business. Yeah. More so it's like, let's hit our goals and KPIs for the business and then speak about what that looks like for you as a financial personal goal, paying yourself from the business as well.
Yeah. Do you think it's important to go through that process with the business so you're sort of a bit more aligned with what they want to do?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, we've changed things up where it's a more, like I said, we vet our leads now. We go for a bit more intense questioning and not kind of like an interview process. We just don't want to work with anyone, just because we've been burnt in the past where we wanted to help everyone. And, there was red flags along the way. We're like, nah, we just want to help these guys. They seem like they love what they do. And then we go 110. They don't match the work ethic. They don't get the call. They don't make the calls. They don't get the sales. And then it ends up just, it's our fault.
It ends up looking like it's you.
So yeah, those questions are definitely one. It's good to put direction to where you guys are going. If you both see the finish line, or you're both working towards it together in unison, rather than one guy working and you're dragging the other partner along or the client along for that as well.
Yeah, it's definitely so important and I think that's why our business relationship has worked so much, because I share so many of my goals with you and you share your goals with me, and we're almost, like I said this the other day, I don't feel like I'm like contracting New Way. I feel like New Way's my partner, my partner in business. Yeah. And I definitely think that, having both of you guys, you and the business, going alongside with understanding what they want out of this and what you want out of this. And I think you just said it then is you vetting them. Like you're interviewing businesses to come and work for you, because that's what I was getting at with the default, is that you can almost start a business and just have a complete default setting for everything that you want to do.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, I guess that's where you've created this interview process, is sometimes you've got to be that person to have that conversation
with them,
with the business, to go, hey, look, like, I've heard, I'll give an example. I won't say who, but like they've said, I know that a business has spoken to me and said that they want $5,000 a week, and then they've wanted to work with yourself, and it's just not achievable.
Yeah,
and it's a hard conversation to have, because you don't want to kill someone's dream, but you also want to give them a realistic view.
100%, and that's where I give an example with a client that we signed on because we thought they were similarly driven and they had the drive to achieve what they wanted to achieve, but then 2 months in they were missing their ad spend bills, and I was thinking, what's going on here? But they literally took us on as a gamble to save their business, and us not knowing that at the start. So we were like, and it was a slow scale, but the industry that they're in was a very very small profit margins in what they sold. And we were giving it the best crack to scale them up slowly. And I said, man, it's going to take you 3-6 months. Like, we're going to just do this one slowly because your profit margins are so low. We've got to increase, and you've got so many competitors. And by month 2, he was missing ad spend bills, and he ended up going MIA, stopped paying.
It's crazy what I think about with that. You know what I think about with this is like if you're going to court for murder and the lawyer goes, all right, you're going to give me all the information.
Yeah.
You give them all the information.
100%.
And so it's like you're going in to fight for their business.
Yeah.
So it's hard. Yeah, I understand why it's hard.
Yeah. I can see why it's hard for them too, because they're probably stressed out, financial stress. They're like,
and also admitting that.
And they heard good things about us. It was a referral lead.
Yeah.
So I don't blame them for coming on board and saying what they said, but it was just like, I made it very clear at the start. And that's why ever since a couple of those situations, it's just like, we properly interview everyone that we sort of want to take on. They got to match our work ethic. And we got to see, what are these guys? Are they just throwing money just to gamble and see if it works for them? If that's the case, well, then it wouldn't be a good partnership.
Yeah. And I think once again, that goes back to ego is if you're going to put on someone like Levi, is having a fair look at yourself properly, having a fair, being able to swallow your pride a little bit and just give all the information, because at the end of the day, you're just trying to help their business.
Well, learn it yourself.
Yeah.
Learn it yourself if you haven't got the budget there. I think that would be the biggest piece of advice, is learn how to do the ad yourself and see if it works. One, you're going to save on all the management fees straight off the bat. And to give you an example, we nearly signed with an agency because our work plate was so full. We wanted to get more inbound leads. So we're going to sign someone on to help us grow our agency. And now
Get high on your own supply.
that's pretty much. And then, but instead I've looked at it, assessed it, and they've got a really good model, but they've also got it done do it yourself where you set up the strategy and the funnel system yourself. And I'm building it out at the moment. So, it saved us 20 grand up front to make sure we can test it and do it ourselves. And you know what? If we get too busy and too full, at least we know it works. Now we can delegate to a third-party source or hire internally and they'll look after it. Yeah.
All right. So we got a question from Instagram.
Sweet.
I'm not going to hit all the questions, but I took this one out. So the question was, what is some free marketing that a business can do for themselves? They've just started and they have $0 in revenue coming in at the moment.
So you got to think about your lowest hanging fruit. Think about the first people I would go to is your contacts list. So who do you got in there? Your friends, your family, acquaintances, previous jobs and people that you work with. A lot of people, work a certain job their whole life and then they do whatever they did full time on their own. So they've already got contacts in the industry. The first thing we'll do is go through your whole phone list. Hey, how's it going, mister? Just started my own business, just reaching out to see if we can help you in any way. By doing so, low cost, you're just texting or calling everyone you know, or work for free to get some testimonials and some credibility in whatever industry that you're doing.
So working for free, how would they market the free?
The free, well, that's what I mean. Market it by going to, or your lowest hanging fruit, your contacts list. So your friends, your family, friends of friends, acquaintances, Facebook posts, marketplace. I always hear a lot of guys start off in marketplace. I've never done it personally, but we put marketplace ads up. I was like, oh, that's fun. That's an interesting way to do it. So that's where you'd market that. And it's hard to say market without putting a cost behind it. So I guess the cost with that one would be time. The other ways you could look at doing it is cold calling, scraping emails and contacts online. DMs, that'd be another one. You can start doing your own organic content. Longer term, slower strategy, but that would be one way. I guess, look, advice, I guess this one goes back because we're dealing with someone at the moment that is in a similar situation, is you want to give until someone asks. So I'm trying to help a business at the moment. They do nightwear and just give out all your nightwear routine, help, tips, advice, put up studies, just keep giving for free until you've built that value and a bit of an audience where you now can offer them something.
It's good advice. Yeah, I think when you're starting out, the best thing that you have is time. And the reason I can comment on this one is because it's an SMP artist that messaged me. And I think that SMP is a little bit different to when someone like a nightwear or someone who has a product. And what you said is great, but with SMP, we have to create the product.
Yeah.
So the product's not there at the beginning. The product's not there for probably 6 months, maybe even 12 months. It took me probably 12 months before someone looked at a treatment and a treatment looked good enough to be advertised and then get clients in. So at the moment, I think time is your biggest asset, and something that and I know that time now at this stage that I'm at and that you're at, we don't have enough of it.
No,
but when you're starting out, that's your point of difference. You almost you have a level up from everybody else because you have all the time to work on all the things that we don't have time to work on.
Yeah, now the best place to start is having one of those jobs where you get 104 days off per year. Every 9 to 5. So then you go every weekend to work on the business.
Yeah.
So definitely time is your biggest friend, and working weekends after work. That's what I did to start New Way. It was back to back 7 days a week for 12 months before I jumped over full time, not paying myself a cent, to then be able to jump in and take it on full time and still not pay myself what I was getting paid at my previous job. But it was enough to get me by so I can invest all my time into it. But it was a hustle. It was a grind. Don't get me wrong. There was a few days where I had to just turn it off and just not do anything. Just for your own to recharge and rest. But it was a good 12 months of just 40 hours day job, 40 hours side hustle, which then turned into a full-time role.
Do you think, looking back, this is what I think about when I look back at when we started out, is that I almost wish I went slower and took it and treated it more like a longer term race. Is that looking back, is that if I knew those statistics, I think I would have. I made all those mistakes. Yeah, I guess. But I guess you also do learn the lessons from the mistakes.
100%. And that's where I think it was the multiple things I tried on the side that failed. And I'm not going to lie, I seen you fast through it and seen you had a few dips and hurdles in that first 12 months with, you know, your dog getting sick and then all that money going to help the dog or whatever it was, a bill that come up that was unexpected. We hit that in April this year where we were redlining. We had lost a bunch of clients because of the economy. Their organic bookings had dropped, but in those businesses, rather than adjust their spending habits and look at the financials, they just kept spending how they were. Got to a point where it's like, oh, I can't afford marketing. First thing they go was marketing. We lost like 5 in one hit. And then for about 2 months, it was just struggle street. And luckily enough, if it wasn't for that first 12 months and building that buffer in the account, it would have been bust.
So you built your buffer to lose it.
Yeah, we built pretty much. We built the buffer to lose it, but it saved us.
Yeah.
And that's where it goes back to that most resilient. Like anyone else that started out like that would have hit that hurdle, gone bust, finished.
Yeah,
and
that would have been the end.
There's a number to the statistic.
Yeah, that's the statistic there.
But it was lucky we had the buffer, and then it took us 4 months to turn that around, and we're back now uptrending and growing, steady, and yeah, it's looking good.
That's good, man. All right, so we got contacts lists. Message everybody that you know.
Yep.
Offering them a free treatment.
Yeah, so if we're going down to S&P, message everyone that you know. Outreach on Instagram, I'm sure people have anywhere from 200 to 1,000 friends or followers on Instagram that they can reach out to. The other ways you could look at doing it is try think of
barbershops, maybe.
Barbershops would be a good one. Gyms, seeing if you can partner with anyone in gyms, and that's where offer them a referral fee. The spotter system, so at least they're getting a benefit out of helping you out. So if you go to a local gym or barbershop, say, hey, if you've put my flyer or you got a banner up here and people come through and mention your name, I'll flick you $200 as a thank you, once obviously the job's complete, because then you're paying post-treatment, not pre-treatment for the customer. Other ways you could look at doing it is the rest all really have a small cost behind them.
I was about to talk about the small cost. I think my thought process I've just had here is even if you've got $5 or $10, is to put that on a Facebook and Instagram ad.
Yeah, it could do.
But this ad has to be it has to be stand out, and it's got to have the word free in bold letters. Yep. I think personally, I would go marketplace and then a free ad. I have a really, really basic video on YouTube about how to put together a basic ad, but you can YouTube this, you can Google it. It's free information. There's no...
Oh, you can use CapCut these days, which is pretty much a video editor on your phone. You can make pretty cool videos on there.
I was talking about making an ad. Creating an ad on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, but creating the video edit on CapCut, which is free, and then whacking that on as an ad rather than just doing a filming on your phone.
What's CapCut?
So it's just a video editing app.
Ah.
Yeah, just on your phone. Free? They've got a free version, which you can get some pretty cool edits.
What's that, CAP?
Yeah, CAPCUT.
CapCut.
And it's got transitions, montages, you just put filters on it, edits it. It pretty much edits the video for you to make it engaging.
Get your content together.
Yeah.
CapCut. Clip it up, run an ad with anything that you've got. Now, this is the thing. This can't take away from food on the table. This can't take away from rent. This can't take away from, I don't know if there's children involved.
You got to be willing to lose it.
Yeah. So, this is money that you would go down to the pokies and put into the pokie machine. This is money.
I wouldn't define it that way because it isn't it's gambling in that sense.
What I would say is that the hardest part about what I'm about to say is that this is free. You're not getting any return from this.
With the return side, it's money going into it.
If you're now, this is very much so for SMP, but I think that this does work in other businesses too. Is that if you do free and you do, let's say for example, now I've run 2 free ads in my life when I very first started. Mate, the inquiry I got was overwhelming. I got hundreds of messages. So if you can get free clients in and get so good at SMP and build up that product, not only that, are you going to build up a good portfolio to have on your Instagram? Because if you don't have a portfolio, you could have, you marketing with a top spend and you know what you're going to get?
A lot of shit.
Fucking nothing. So build up that product, get good at the product, and the whole time you're learning and progressing, and you're also progressing of how you deal with the client, how your client process is, how your SMP looks like. Then also the kicker with that is that when it's for free, these guys are probably going to refer you, or you can, exactly like you said before, hey, referral fee.
Yeah.
Or the other one that you told me the other day is that you can gift $200 to somebody else.
Correct. Yeah. So this would apply to better if it's direct to consumer, is rather than giving them the referral fee, people like to give and look like they're giving. So if you say, hey, rather than say they can pass on the referral fee to someone else for a discount on their treatment, just because it's that feel good, oh, here's $200, really, but it costs them nothing. If it's B2B, then it's different. You want to have some sort of agreement in place, or like, here's your actual spotter's fee for it, because there's no emotion there. It's just business to business transaction versus business to customer transaction. Yeah.
What else do you think as well, somewhere to be putting their time? I've got a few thoughts here, but somewhere to be putting that time, because there's so much time when you're nothing, no revenue.
No revenue, it'll be learning ads.
Learning
Sales. Influence, psychology.
Have you got anything
personally? And there's so much out there, and it's always changing. For S&P in particular, we are in the midst of building something out, because we're about to go global for marketing for clinics around the world.
Yep.
With that, there's going to be another offer to our services, and that's going to be training on the structures that we use for S&P clinics that we've obviously formed over the last 2 years.
Yep.
So that will be one that will be there as well. But yeah, trying to find where it changes. Like, even the guys that I was learning from online at the start aren't innovating and pivoting like they should be now. And so even all of our ads have completely changed over the last 6-12 months to what they were. There's no more, very rarely that we'll use that, unless it's a service-based business in a local area. But majority of it, if it's like a national business, it's no top, middle, bottom of funnel anymore. It's leveraging the systems in Facebook and using the machine learning to target for you. And it's the offer and the creative that talks to the audience, not the targeting. So yeah, trying to stick, no real place to learn it.
Let's talk a little bit more in basic terms.
Yeah.
So you're saying that there's no way that you would directly give someone who's a complete novice, like, let's say, I want to learn something. I think the first place to start would be the marketing. There's somewhere to run a basic ad for free. So we're doing the free ad, so it's an awesome hook.
Yeah.
Either free or extremely discounted.
Yeah.
So YouTube? No.
For training?
No, learning how to do the marketing.
Actually, the only one that's been solid is Hormozy's training. If you're looking at my sales and marketing training for hooks,
he's got that free at the moment too.
It's on his website.
Yeah, so what Levi's talking about is Alex Hormozy, and if you go, what's his website? Is it
acquisition.com.
Okay.
Out of all the trainings that I've done on a broad marketing sense, that's probably the one that had the most value, and it was completely free. Yeah.
Oh, so if anyone wants that, send me a message, because it's Alex Hormozy and it's acquisition.com, but send me a message and I'll send you the link. It's awesome. It's very, very, I do recommend that a lot.
Won't give you the technical stuff on how to actually structure the ads, just more marketing in a nutshell and the frameworks that he uses. And then for frameworks and stuff, you just go on YouTube and just look up Facebook ads tutorial. Just look for the most recent with the most amount of views, because it's just going to teach you your way around the platform itself.
I'm trying so hard to, like, when I ask the question, is to try and like just strip it back to its most basic form, because this, I think when someone's listening to this can seem overwhelming. And I think it's sort of that, like, how do you eat an elephant? Bite at a time. Yeah. It's just, think about all of these things as such basic steps. And something that I did when I started is I would go into work, and let's say I don't have a client on. I would go, all right, for 2 hours today, I'm going to learn marketing. And then that was frustrating. So frustrating. I'm overwhelmed. I'm stressed. I'm like, how do I turn this into money? So, but what I would do was, and what I've tried to do even now, is that I put in that time. So 2 hours to marketing. I sit there and I watch the YouTube videos. So Levi's given 2 bits of advice. That is basic videos on YouTube and Alex Hormozy on acquisition.com. Put 2 hours aside and just watch that. If you don't have it figured out by the end of that 2 hours, that's fine, but put it down.
Yeah, and practice too. I think because it's marketing, you get to practice the marketing frameworks on your organic posts. You can write hooks. You can write engaging content. You can practice your copywriting. You can practice your video editing skills and organic content. Like it's all pretty much real life training for you that you learn online, and you're able to do it for free on your profiles.
You're sort of a white belt.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're a beginner. This is the first time you've ever done it. It's going to take a long time, and
the first ones are going to be shit.
They're going to be terrible.
You're going to look back 12 months later and be like, fuck, that was a shit post.
Yeah. But back to what we were talking about from the beginning, it's that ego.
Yeah. It is.
It's that ego of being able to do things. And I spoke to Caitlin about this on our podcast that we did last week. And it's dropping that ego to do the most. What makes you a good SMP artist a lot of the time is doing the basic things really well.
I think that's everything.
Yeah.
You got to, what's that quote? To be extraordinary, it's doing the ordinary things for an extraordinary amount of time.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah. To become the master, you first need to be. You first need to suck.
I don't know what master you're seeing, but fair enough.
Yeah. But you do have to suck.
Yeah.
I tell you where I felt that is and this is what's crazy as well, is that even now. Yeah. I still feel that every day. I felt it when I started, and I still feel it now. And when I felt that was yesterday. So yesterday, I just changed over. You guys have done a new website for me. Looks great, and Steve's run me through the whole back end. Bro, yesterday, I wanted to change a photo on that website. After 2 hours, I still hadn't changed a photo. I couldn't figure it out.
WordPress is a lot harder, but it's a lot cleaner.
Yeah, but but the website's already getting results.
Yeah.
But the kicker here is like, I'm now at a point where I have subcontracted that website work out. And the 2 hours is the most amount of time I could spend on it. So now I'm outsourcing that to you guys. But when you're starting out, everything's that.
Yeah, it's learning. So you got to learn the ropes. You have to. 1, to get your head around it. 2, if you do become successful and you grow a team, you're going to be able to manage the team then as well on a basic level, because you're going to understand the marketing, the sales, the accounting, the financials, looking at all that, and you can learn all of it free online. That's the crazy part. Like, you don't have to go to university or TAFE or something to learn this shit. I did a lot of online courses. I did half of my MBA as well, but that was after 5 years of being in the trenches doing sales and marketing and helping scaling a business in that anyway. I think that's the fastest way to learn for me personally. It may not be for everyone, but just being thrown in the deep end is the fastest way that I was able to learn. And then the other stuff on the side, yes, it helps me articulate things and understand things a little bit better and why things do the things that they do. But you got to learn heaps faster being in the trenches.
You got to start.
Just got to start. Yeah.
You got to start doing it. You got to try run an ad.
If it fails, try another way. If Facebook doesn't work, try Google. If Google doesn't work, try TikTok. Keep going, because it'll eventually work.
Keep banging your head against the wall.
That's it, pretty much. It's and if it's not working, it's not even about doing your best. It's about doing what's required.
Yeah.
So your best might not be enough to get a result. That means upskill. Go learn more. Get out there. You can go, if it's talking on a camera, go to these public speaking type sessions where you can practice in front of randoms, where they give you a random topic. If it's marketing and sales, look it up online. There's heaps of sales courses. There's so many places. Practice with your family and friends. Like, there's so much you can do in your real day-to-day life. This is just going to benefit you when you're learning the business.
Yeah, and that's the hard part, right? It's like the question is, I understand the mindset of the question, and the other questions that I had is that where we see problem and then we're looking for a solution, but really it's problem, try. And that isn't really, that's it. That's it. Is it? But enjoyment in that process too. And what's great about this is that you can do those steps, and then when you do get at a point that you're getting busy enough, the first thing you can do is fuck off all the things you don't like doing.
100%. Yeah, definitely. And that was admin for me. So yeah, that and creating the actual ads itself. Yeah, I couldn't stand it. But yeah, 100%. Once you grow it, once you keep failing and you achieve something, then you can delegate it. Yeah.
And content's so important as well. Yeah. What was your process like getting behind the camera? I remember when you first started and you weren't putting out content, and I was like, bro, I was pressuring you to put out the content. How did you find that process of like getting in front of the camera?
Well, it was confronting.
Yeah.
Like even now with all these cameras for these podcasts, it makes me nervous. But what did I do to help? For 12 months built, like from when I started New Way, I was filming myself talking on the camera, talking about day-to-day stuff to document some of the process, just so it was something for me to look back on in the future, but also get me comfortable with talking to the camera. And then after about 12 months, it was probably around January 2022 or December 2022. That's when that first video went out. And then, just gets...
How'd it feel when you posted that video?
I was nervous as fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck. All my friends and family are going to see this video about me talking to a camera. No matter how hard you edit it, it's still going to be like you're still nervous.
Yeah.
And then... But once you do it, you don't give a fuck. Like once you do it, it's like ripping the Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
Like who cares?
It's already out there now.
It's out there now. Who gives a fuck? Like if it's going to help you grow your business and build a brand and give free value, and it's helped New Way as much as like I don't have a massive following, but people that you've referred into us, people that have come across our page, they've organized a strategy session only because of some of the free tips and advice that I've given out in those videos. Or they've seen, this guy's actually kind of genuine. I want to see what he's about, see if he can help me. And that's helped just help people, I guess, relate and trust me without actually having to know me first, which is cool. Yeah.
Yeah. You'd be surprised about the people that relate to you as well. I tell this story a lot is when I first started SMP, there was about, I think probably 8 artists within the same space, all renting a bed. And what's crazy is 8 different logos, 8 different business names, 8 different people, 8 different types of clientele that would come through the door.
100%.
It's insane. Yeah. Like I would almost know when a client walked in who they were there for.
Yeah.
Without ever meeting them.
Well, that's why you're going to relate to the people that are most alike to you.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be. And that's where I think you would have seen a demographic that was closer to who looked like you, had similar interests.
And also like, related to my brand or me and even the work that I was doing as well. Yeah. And what I would say too, this is something that I don't think I did enough of, is if you're starting out is documenting everything. Like, and I still don't feel like I do it enough is if you're practicing on a piece of fruit, or if you're making a t-shirt for the first time, or you're playing with brand ideas, post all of that.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, me personally, just saying that, I'd like to watch that. I'd follow someone's, if
building
someone
it from
started,
scratch.
Yeah, I'd like to watch that. And I'd like to watch that just as much as the person who's at the top.
Yeah.
I think because you're both ends of the spectrum, it's all fun to watch. It's a journey.
It's a journey. It gives a bit more of a realistic look as well of what's behind the scenes instead of just all the successes. Can show showing some of the failures. I don't think I've done it yet personally, but I think that'd be a good driving factor because people are going to relate. No one's putting up, how much they've lost or what didn't work for them.
Yeah.
Everyone puts out what did work for them.
Yeah, we do tend to do that a lot, don't we? Yeah, I wonder, there is a rule in the 48 Laws of Power. It says that you should make it look easy, but so you never share your failures, you make it look easy. But I don't know. I personally...
I think it depends. If you're a big dog, then don't show your weaknesses, because if big dogs are going against big dogs in the industry...
Well, they've got bigger sharks trying to eat them.
Correct, right? Yeah. But if you're someone that's just starting out, or if you want to relate to people, show your ups, show your downs.
That's probably your point of difference at that point.
That too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think documenting all of that, sharing all the little bits of struggle, and it's crazy too as well. You can get to a point, even if you're 2 months in, and this is probably in every industry as well, is that you can actually start helping people within your industry. Because if you're at 2 months and someone's at 1 day,
Oh, you can help 100%.
you can start helping them.
Definitely.
And, here's what something else I would do as well is message all the people that are doing well
Yeah.
and ask for advice and be willing to take on that advice.
Yeah, and don't shoot too far ahead either, because if they're too far ahead, they probably won't have the time for you, and you're better off. They might have forgotten some of the things that got them to that place anyway. So you go on, some of them might be 1 or 2 steps or 3 steps ahead. They've just
Not
come
10
through
steps.
it, not 10 steps.
Yeah.
1, they'll probably have time for you. And then 2, it might be more actionable things that you can apply straight away.
Yeah.
Because they've just done it themselves, overcome whatever hurdle that you're facing at the moment. But then also not trying to help people and not having achieved it yourself first, I think, is another one. I think there's a lot of people out there trying to give free advice, but they actually haven't done the work that justifies them giving the advice for what they're trying to teach.
Yeah.
I've seen it when I've looked at like content creators and people to follow and learn things off, but it's like, well, where's the proof of you actually achieving the things that you're trying to teach on? So be careful of that too. But not doing it yourself and following other people. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, a lot of good stuff there for that person who asked that question. But it's just a marathon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just ask yourself, like, you enjoying it? Are you trying to fix another problem with this business? Sometimes what I spoke about with Caitlin is one of the big problems that we see in our industry is that people come in not enjoying it at all and try and fix that by making a lot of money and just end up tearing down an industry and sort of ruining, in our instance, a lot of people's lives in that process. Like they end up doing poor treatments, big training groups, but I think they're just not feeling fulfilled in what they do. Yeah. And that brings me to the next point is we spoke about this, I think last week, is don't strangle your passion. Now, I think as we've both gone through this journey of you were a tradie, I was a tradie, we've had some moments in life where we probably not that stoked. But now we're living a life where we sort of wake up excited.
Yeah.
We've just like, we like, it's like when I talk to you, it's like it's almost hard to talk about anything else. Like besides what we're excited and we're passionate about.
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
What do you think about when I say those words like don't strangle your passion?
I'm trying to think how I perceive that. I guess enjoying it. I guess the only way you can really strangle your passion if you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Or then it's not a passion really. You're just doing it. I find, I don't know, I can't see a way I'm passionate about business growth, marketing, sales, all the rest of it.
Yeah. You can see it when you talk as well.
I can't see how I would strangle that, for instance, because it doesn't matter how hard it gets or how easy it gets. I chose it and I enjoy it at the same time. Don't get me wrong. There's sometimes, like I said, in April last year when we were redlining and, going down instead of up, I was like, fuck, this is hectic, but push through, made it to the end. So now I know if it ever happens again, well, we're prepared. We've been through the motions now, and learning the mistakes from the past, or from other people around you, had the buffer. But I don't think there's been anything there that strangled it. Per se, I can't. No, that doesn't. I can't relate to it personally. Yeah.
It seems like I'm asking the same question multiple times. But what do you think? Like, when it comes to passion and business, I guess there would be companies that don't have. Obviously, they're a big company, but like the underlying passion of the business operator when they come to you, and the importance of that.
So of having passion, I think it's a massive driving factor because it aligns with, I guess, who we are as well at New Way. It's like we're driving this business through passion, and that's that's the only reason, because we have a passion for helping people, we have a passion for business marketing and sales. But at the same time, there's a lot of boring ass businesses out there that you might not have passion for, and that's understandable as well. But I guess their passion might lie outside of work. and this is giving them the financials and the backing to be able to
That's still a
chase
conversation to have, though, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. They've got to have some sort of drive now. If they haven't got the drive to make it succeed or being open to different ideas, I guess like the biggest thing that we see people do is they keep trying to do the same thing over and over again and it doesn't work. Well, that's a definition of insanity. Doing the
That's
same
that
thing.
pivoting thing.
Pivoting and being open-minded. And everyone that's been open-minded that we've worked with, like we've worked with probably about 10 S&P artists in Australia.
Yeah.
We're now working with 3.
Yeah.
S&P Oz, who's the biggest in Oz, S&P WA, who's got Perth, that's got Gold Coast, Brizzy. And yous 3 are the only 3 that have been able to pivot and be open to, all right, we've got to try something different here to make it work because it is a hard economy or it is a little bit slow. And you're all successful right now. I think you all saw a dip last year as well, and we saw a dip in bookings, organic, all the rest of it. And look at you now. You're having one of the busiest starts to 2024, but busiest starts of the year that you've ever had.
Busiest months I've ever had.
S&P Oz is having the busiest January that they've had. They can't even remember in the 8-9 years that they've been in S&P. S&P WA, and he's ticking along just as well. So, but you're all open to, you've all got that drive and you've got that passion. But yeah, I think that also varies on the industry that you're in. Obviously, all of you guys are passionate about helping people with hair loss.
Yeah.
So that's a good driving factor. But then you've got people who work with that are tradies and service guys. Like they're not that passionate about fixing a leaking pipe or anything like that. But if they've got the drive, their drive might be, Bailey's an example. I don't think he's the most passionate about aircons, but he's passionate about growing his business and being something and making something of himself.
That's been a huge penny drop for him too.
Oh, 100%. I think that it was. I think it was those hard words that you had over that Instagram thing. It was like, bro, learn how to build this business. In person. And it's true. If you're in a business you don't like, or maybe just ride it out if it's making you good money, because you're going to make all the mistakes in that one first. So then when you do take on the passion later on, you've made the mistakes and you're not going to make as many mistakes.
Yeah.
That would be a key one.
So we're talking passion. We're talking about Bailey and the conversation that me and him had around him not being passionate about air conditioning, but my advice to him was to go all in on that one thing, because that's going to help if and when you do find your passion. Because when you go further along on one dominance hierarchy, it's going to help you in all dominance hierarchies.
100%.
And what you said before, it really worked out for him, because now he's going, I'm not passionate about aircon, but I am passionate about business and growth. And meeting you has been a huge pivotal factor for him, because he's realizing there's so much more to his business. There's the CRMs, there's the sales, there's the marketing, there's the website. Now he's trying to get reviews. Now he's putting on employees,
trying to get an apprentice, expand, grow, and you get to learn that all through the process, and it's making him money.
Yeah, and funny, we had that conversation this morning as well with Eden. Is that about passion, and what I said to him is that if and when he does find something he's passionate about, he's going to kill it.
100%.
And so let's talk more about passion. How, like, I'm trying to think, the way that you found like New Way and something that you're passionate about. I think a lot of the times passion comes back to helping people.
Yes. I think one I don't know who said it, but what I relate to now is like, everyone says find your passion and do it. Well, you're not going to know what you're passionate about until you're kind of good at it. Yeah. You're going to be shit at everything that you try first. So I would say try as much as you can while you're younger, until you find one that you kind of get good at, and it makes you feel good as well, and you're seeing progress. Double down on that one, because finding your passion, yes, as much as I'd love to, start that from the get-go. I'm not going to say I love sales and marketing when I first started. I hated walking up to a customer on the car yard and saying hello for the first time. I was that nervous that it made me feel terrible. And I was the worst at it. But once I started getting runs on the board and I started being an all right salesperson, and then obviously the money that came with that as well, with the commissions and stuff, it just built your confidence. And then I think that as well, passion will come from what you're confident in as well. Because how can you be passionate about anything if you aren't confident you can't do it?
This is true.
Yeah.
And I think passionate about parts. It doesn't need to be Yeah, I
Yeah.
think when sometimes we can look at something and go, you know what, I don't want to mow lawns because I'm not passionate about mowing lawns. But it might not be the mowing of the lawns that you're passionate about. It might be the satisfaction of that you might have a bit of OCD and that you love it when a lawn and a garden is immaculate.
Proper, yeah.
And dude, there's heaps of people who have a green thumb like that and they enjoy that. Yeah, and I think too is that it's always going to be uncomfortable. It's always going to be uncomfortable, but you have to find the uncomfortable that you're comfortable with.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's all shit. There's no great industry, no great
that's
job.
hard. This is something I'm trying to nail home right now. Is that you when you see Levi post on Instagram and he's talking about something, he's super passionate, and like right now I'm excited, right? And I do wake up this excited and I do feel passionate about what I do, but that doesn't take away from the moments where I'm 7 hours deep into a tattoo and my eyes are getting a bit blurry and fucking the skin is not taking the pigment how I thought, and
you got 2 hours of sales calls after you're done.
And then I know then it's 6 o'clock and I gotta go home and I gotta do my 2 hours of sales calls. So I'm not there with my AirPods in going, wow, this is my passion and everything's perfect. That's probably maybe a misconception around passion.
Yeah.
Passion is almost like a happy word. It's like,
yeah, it's almost finding the things that the parts of it that you don't like, you're okay. You're going to know you're going to be able to sustain through Worth it, yeah.
Yeah.
Or the wins are going to be so big that you disregard every bad part of it. And I think that's where I find mine with marketing and sales and business is, there's a lot of shit. Like I've spent probably 15 hours trying to build out a CRM system and all the flows automations. I hate that technical stuff. But once it works and I press the live button and then when a lead comes through, it automates all this bing, 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 bing and notifies the customer and does all the rest of it. We're on. That's the satisfying part is I've just built that little system for that business to make it more efficient and automate a lot of it. But yeah, I agree. Yeah, you're not going to be jumping up and down every day to do every part of the job. No doubt.
Your passion. And I tell you what's crazy to us, a lot of the time, passion, I think, comes from whenever you talk to somebody about this subject, it's about helping people.
Yeah.
And I think we all inherently have that somewhere of like helping people. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, but your passion for helping people in their business sort of almost came from like our friendship, because I was at the point where I was like, I'm selling my car, my marketing, I was doing marketing myself. Then it wasn't working and I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. And I remember the day I was like, I woke up, did my sales calls, did my SMP treatment, heavily discounted SMP treatment. Then I did my content and then I did my calls again. And then I sat down at night and I'm like, fuck, my ads aren't working. Yeah. And I was like, I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working anymore. I restructured it, still nothing. Yeah. And I'm like, I can't pay my rent. Yeah. So I put my car up for sale and then I called one SMP other marketing company. I'd been through two and they hadn't worked. I called them and they'd already had another artist with them. So I couldn't go on board with them. And then I remember you'd built a website.
What was I doing then? I was building web Shopify sites off the back of that little drop shipping stint that I did, which I had to learn ads to do.
You did the Bitcoin, then the drop shipping, and then this guy's been caught by all. I know. I think that's good to explain though. Like,
you have to, yeah. There's been heaps that I've failed
because we're sort of getting through your process to finding.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no doubt.
It's sort of like how you figure out the food that you like. You try it.
Yeah.
And I don't like this.
Yeah, you have to try it first. That's what I mean. Or you lose a lot of money doing it too. Whichever way
we've both done that. So you'd done the Bitcoin and the e-com, and then you were fitting out a Shopify store.
Yeah, I was drop shipping and then building sites for people.
That's right. And I'd sent you my website because I just got ripped off.
Yes, correct.
I got ripped off with the website, and then I tried to do it myself, and it turned out better than what I'd paid for, but wasn't very good. And then I sent it to you, and you fixed it up.
Yeah.
And then you were playing with the idea of doing some.
I was doing marketing for my cousin's crystal site, and I did the marketing for Genesis at the time. I was all marketing for them, and then
had you already done that before doing the East Coast one?
The face. Oh no, maybe Facebook came after. Sorry, yeah, it might have come after for Genesis. But yeah, it was drop shipping. Drop shipping is where I learned the marketing.
Had you? Oh yeah, because you were doing a Facebook ads course for the drop shipping,
correct?
Right?
Yeah, so that was kind of successable to a degree.
Yeah,
but it was where it shit itself. No, just the delayed freight because it all comes from China. I was trying to replying to 10, 15 emails after a full day's work of just negative. Where's my freight emails? It really wasn't worth I think I got it up to like maybe $3,000 a month. It wasn't heaps, but if I would have kept going, it might have went somewhere. But at the same time, I just didn't see the value in sitting there replying to emails and unhappy customers, so I stopped it. And that's when you hit me up about doing the marketing for East Coast.
Yes, I was there. I remember I was living in Broadbeach, and it's so funny the timing. So the other marketing company couldn't take it on. They already had one artist here, and I put my car up for sale, and it was a great time to sell my car. And someone took it straight away because it was that COVID period. And I remember I called you and I was like, bro, I was like, I got $5,000. I'm going to send it to you. I was like, if it doesn't work, I'm back brickland. So it is what it is. And this is where I'm obviously talking about you and a third party here, but this is where I think maybe that passion sort of got created for you, is that one, because I'm your friend, but two, is that you got to help someone out of a dire situation. So when I say passion, a lot of the time comes from helping people. Is that you got to help me in like this dire time. And dude, it fucking worked out well. That first month was like a complete turnaround. I went from I actually moved out of that Broadbeach house. I couldn't afford it to once we started the ads, I had a wage. I was like, oh my God. And then obviously the rest of the journey started. But do you think that that's where your passion sort of got created there, is that you found something that someone needed help with and that you were able to help?
So, yeah, I think the wanting to help people has always been something inside me. I've always liked helping people, whether it was helping someone move house or giving a helping hand or being there for someone 100%, and then being able to leverage a skill that I had learned more. That was just the double whammy. I've got both now. And then that obviously finding those two and combining that, wanting to help people and learning the marketing, and that's where I was going to help them grow and all the rest of it. Yeah, I think that helped for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, what you just said there is like, it's what you are good at doing and what you liked doing, and it helps someone.
Yeah, it's like, I can't remember the actual how exactly it goes down, but your ikigai, it's your flow state. You know, finding something that you're passionate about that crosses over with what the world needs. And I can't remember the other one, but it's an overlap on the matrix that they show you.
So good. Yeah. Finding something that you're good at and that the world needs.
Yeah, that you can get paid for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, when I think about that flow state, it's sort of moments that you like forget to check your phone or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we go the other side of that, is that if you're not passionate about something like marketing or SMP, that's probably more when you see those moments of trying to get somewhere faster, trying to undercut people, you know, bad work ethic and stuff like that.
Or just giving up.
Yeah, or giving up as well.
And then you become a number.
Yeah, I guess, and that's a big thing, isn't it? Is that I could never see myself quitting because I'm already getting what I want out of it.
Correct. You've already succeeded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, man, like I remember for years I was like trying to find that passion thing, and like that.
I've seen you swap around a few times.
Oh, dude, far out. A few. Yeah, I think I've done maybe 12 different careers. But like when you think about what we just said, like that seems like a really simplistic model to try and find something that you're passionate about. Is something that you like doing
Mm.
that helps people.
Yeah, and you get
I
paid
think
for.
that the helping people is the kicker there.
Yeah, well, like because everything doesn't help people, or
Well, I don't know. A lot of the time, I think that's what passion comes back to, is like having an effect on others, having a positive effect on
I think
others.
we all have that intrinsic drive to help others.
Mm.
So I think if you can find something that can help people and you're good at it, well, you've probably hit the jackpot.
Mm.
Yeah.
Now, the next part I had here was the self-improvement trap.
Mhm.
We've talked about like marketing, like how you can improve with your marketing, how you can improve with your sales. And probably another thing too, as somebody starting their business, they're probably getting dragged into a lot of these motivational talks,
Mhm.
these short courses and stuff like
Yeah.
that. What are your thoughts on now? The self-improvement trap to me is that you all encompassing consuming all of this information, not using it, not utilizing it, and almost playing a part to be like what you've seen through these things. I think that self-improvement has to be targeted to what you're doing and what you want to achieve, and as specific as marketing, and then improving yourself in marketing. I think it needs to marry up like that. So if you're reading a lot of motivational books, I believe sometimes it can almost be similar to watching TV, unless you do need a good rewiring.
Yeah.
But tell me what your
I
thoughts on
think,
self-improvement.
consuming too much it'd be like trying to read a book and learn from it and then not actioning anything from the book. What's the point? You just wasted your time reading the book. Same as consuming. I think there is some benefit to the rewiring. I think I did that early on when I moved to the Gold Coast, coming from a bit of a party style lifestyle and that sort of reckless, young, dumb sort of behavior. Then being sort of obsessed with the idea of the law of attraction and, manifestation and positive thinking and sunrises. And that's where, like, even now, that self-help got me to where I am today. And
I had a thought there. It's like it did have a positive effect.
It did work with me, but I felt like I was aware enough that I didn't let it overconsume me, because I sat down the other week and I remember I had a list of things that I wanted to achieve while I was on the Gold Coast. And it was, live close to Burleigh, be somewhere successful in sales or marketing. There's a few other ones on there. I think there might have been a financial goal. And I looked at it and I'm already there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm there now, but it was based off the back of all that manifestation, law of attraction stuff that we learned at Vonnie's when we were doing that back in the day.
That was big, hey?
That was massive for me. That
was probably my pivotal change as well.
So I think it does benefit. I think where it doesn't is when you try to adapt everything you do, like these personalities online or these self-help people out there, and then you're also not being yourself. I think it can make you also a little bit tunnel visioned and not aware of what's around you.
Do you think as well with that, it's like it can be when you first started that, we almost didn't like ourselves. So we're recreating ourselves, but it can be hard to not recreate exactly what you see. That you almost have to have your own brand of Levi.
Yeah. Being able to recreate it in your own way.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't say, like, who do I follow? Who do I follow a lot? Gary V's one, but I wouldn't say I'm a Gary V.
No.
There's Tony Robbins, which just popped up now, which I think I've watched a little bit of stuff in the past, but caught on with that podcast he sent me. Who else was there? Can't even remember now. But,
There's a lot of good messages, right? Like
Yeah,
you see
it's-
them, and they have like these little parts that really hit home. But then it's taking the message that they're giving you and not trying to be them.
Yeah, not trying to be them. I think the only thing that did benefit me, which I overconsumed on, was what was I going to say just then? Just went blank.
Overconsumed the.
I overconsumed the type of content, which was like, I have the mentality, no matter what happens, everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
I think I brainwashed that into me.
Yeah, you've had that for a while as well.
Yeah,
though.
it's been a while now. I think I had a little bit of that no fear of loss kind of thing at the start, but it's even been cemented even further with everything just here. Like, hardships are meant to happen.
Yeah.
And like, everything's going to work out at the end of the day. No matter what happens in life, everything will work out. It has to.
Yeah.
It has to. It's like when you go on with business, if you don't give up, it's going to work. It just has to, because you haven't given up unless you die. Then, all right, then maybe it didn't work.
So, but your business could go on.
Your business could go on. Yeah, it's about not
you
giving
die.
up. Like even if
If you die,
your
Steve will take over.
Yeah, Steve. Yeah, that's true. The business will go on.
Yeah.
That's true. Very cool. Very cool.
But that's right. It's like, death is really the only thing that stops that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy that I guess the self-improvement thing is that we got introduced to it, but didn't know that those things were real. I think if you can get around some positive people like that and you can get into a positive environment, most definitely. And what me and Levi are talking about here is the self-improvement trap where that goes too far, where it only becomes that you're posting on Instagram and that you're trying so hard to write something motivational, that you've read every single motivational book. And then what happens here, and maybe people at home watching have seen this before, but what happens here is that self-improvement trap can feed your ego, and you need it to be fed enough so you can get off the starting block, but it can't be too big that you don't take on information. And why I talk to you about this is because you've got all the information for business, but probably, correct me if I'm wrong, one of the harder things is to try and get someone to take that information. Their ego might be so fed with all this stuff that
because they've done all those other things to become who they are. They don't think maybe, sort of makes them tunnel vision. Oh, that's not going to work.
And it's like it's them.
Yeah,
they did this.
That too. Yeah,
that's what's crazy to me. Is two things here. Is that one, when I talk to guys and they ask me about marketing and I talk about you, all the ones that say they're going to do it themselves have stayed in the exact same position, or they've gone down. And a lot of the time, what I see is, and I saw this when I was a personal trainer as well, is when you help someone and they strive and they achieve, and this is not all your clients, and I'm not talking about anyone in general here, but they'll sort of attribute it to their own success, that it was them.
Yeah.
But like something that I like to do a lot is I say like, bro, my business wouldn't be there if I didn't.
Oh, 100%. And I think that you can grow faster that way.
Yeah.
Like if you did, it's that, you just go faster by helping people, by saying what you just said. I lost what I was going to say again.
No, that's all good, bro. So it's like, I think you grow faster by dropping.
Dropping the ego and sharing your wins and how you got there. If there was someone that contributed to that win, share it. Let people know, because it's just going to compound in return for you by helping someone else grow at the same time. And then because you've shared their win that they helped you with, well, what are they going to want to do next? If you help them with something, well, they're going to share the hell out of your stuff as well. It just goes both ways, and you're both growing together rather than just by yourself, which can probably turn people away as well.
Yeah, I think we're getting into sort of like almost like a karma thing as well here, if somebody helps you out with something and then you share their business around, all these things sort of come around.
100%.
Like you might not see the return straight away, but if you shout out Levi because he's done a good job, that might not have a good return on investment for yourself.
Well, it might do if you shout me out and we get a client out of it, well, you get a spotter's fee. So
there you go. Sorry, that's a direct. That's direct.
Karma.
But I think Eden said this morning, and it's like a lot of these things when it comes to business or anything that you're trying to pursue it's so basic and just being a good human being.
Yeah. When you can't break it down, it's just about doing good for yourself and the people around you and people with empathy and all the rest of it. Just trying to make it, don't make it too complicated.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that's sort of like the kicker to like when we're talking here, we've got like, marketing, sales, all these sort of things is don't complicate it and think that you need to know the recipe right now. It's just start. Just 100%. Start building it. Yeah. Yeah, bro, that's good. So what's when you're taking on businesses, what sort of one of the, I guess you've seen those mistakes there. What are some of the mistakes that you're seeing in a new startup when they're coming to see you?
Come to see us, going for a saturated market, not doing their market research. So what do you mean by saturated market? So for instance, if you wanted to start a sportswear brand right now,
is there a few people doing that?
There's still people doing that. There's a fair few people doing that. we sort of step away from anything clothing realistically because they're more leveraged off a personal brand now.
Yeah.
Rather off just coming up as a startup. It's a lot harder. That'll be one mistake. And if it's like a product that it's like to help people, for instance, you can like test the product with drop shipping, product market fit. See if you can get some sales with a drop shipping setup on your e-commerce store first to see if, it's got some traction. Let's actually buy some stock and then now let's sell it.
So you're talking about like them like trying it first.
Yeah. Or trying to sell it first and using a drop shipping method to test the market on if the people like the product.
That's before that they come and talk to someone like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Other mistake.
I guess that's what you did as well.
Pretty much. Well, that's how I learned ads. It was only because I wanted to make money drop shipping, I had to learn ads, which then led on to ad marketing and sales. Well, I was already doing sales. They sort of go hand in hand.
Yeah. So your advice there is like start it yourself.
Yeah, start it yourself
before you come talk.
Yeah. Unless you've got.
Well, you can obviously sit down and have a talk with you.
Yeah, that too. Like we always offer as much as free time as I have to give. If I have friends, family, or friends of friends hit me up, or even just inquire off the Instagram. Hey, do you have any advice for this? Like I sat down with a jerky company in Canada a couple of months ago.
What, like beef jerky?
Yeah, beef jerky. Just randomly, they just messaged me, saw your videos. They wanted your advice. What? And they're a jerky company in Canada. Weird, like all the way on the other side of the world.
That's great.
But there's that power of content as well. It didn't turn into anything, but I was able to provide some value.
Did they say where they found you?
Reels. What? Yeah, it was really cool.
That goes back to what we're talking about, the content.
Yeah. But
Is that a recent one?
That one I was probably about 6 months ago, 6 to 8 months ago.
Cool. So they reached out to you and you just, how did that go? How was
It was just asking advice. Startup, they made their own jerky themselves. They had a full process line and they were doing it from, I think, a shed or their home, and they used to go to the markets and sell online.
Damn, that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
Does that like fill you up? Like you're like
that was cool. It was like you found my reel. So one, it's working. Two, it's like, well, I gave enough value where you see me as a credible source to help you and whatever you're trying to achieve. And then sitting down and like just the idea that it was a random person from Canada. Crazy. And I'm all the way in Australia, and like, it was cool.
Yeah, that's pretty surreal.
Yeah.
So your advice to them was to
one, well, they had to look at a couple of ways. One, because they were manually doing all the jerky themselves. Well, you got to try optimize that process line. So if you get the orders through the door, well, you're going to want to be able to scale with that and be able to fulfill the orders.
Oh, so your first question was, can you make it fast enough?
Yeah, can you make it fast enough? That was one of the issues. They're already nearly at a cap. So it's like, well, there's no point on you jumping too much money into your marketing.
Why wouldn't you just take them on and make money out of them?
Nah.
What's wrong with you?
Maybe 85% of the other agencies in Australia that we've dealt with is a fair common issue.
Yeah. But I guess that's the difference with passion, right? Is it
one, difference of passion.
Yeah. You see, you're excited talking to them, be able to give them that value.
Yeah, and that was just free value. And it might turn into something one day. Who knows? There might be end up being some big jerky supplier in Canada. Who knows? Or they might refer someone in. But it was just fixing up the process line. What the gaps that they had was, well, there's no point even you dumping money into your marketing, because even if you increase it by X amount, you haven't got the manpower or the equipment in the back end to fulfill the orders. So you're just going to be.
How did they take that?
They appreciated it. They were like, "Oh, it's a fair point." So they're going to look at ways to keep slowly growing, to buy better machinery, to do bigger, however they manufacture or create the jerky, or some home family traditional recipe that they had that they were using.
Wow. Yeah. I'd love to know how they make jerky.
Yeah. I'll message them actually. I think I've still got them on Instagram.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what have you got any other stories like that of another business? Because that's an interesting one, is that they've sought you out for marketing, but after having the meeting, they realize that they can't even.
Well, there'd be no point.
Not actually.
Yeah. That's a lot of the first question I ask any trades or service business. When you're service based, obviously you're capped by the amount of hours you can work. So one of the first questions we ask now is, okay, what does your books look like? How booked out are you? All right, sweet. They say, oh, we've got, 1 day a week. Like say, for instance, we're 85% full. And for instance, for us to fill that 85%, we need to spend, say $3,000 on ads per month, management fee, another $3,000. Say it's $6,000 they got to spend per month. But then that $6,000 that they chuck in marketing only makes them $8,000 because they filled those spots. Well, what's the point? Yeah. You might as well have 85% of your books full and you're more profitable rather than just making an extra $1,000 a month. Like there's no point. unless you're looking to scale and grow with it then. So that's with every trades and service. If you haven't got the capacity to take on the work, let's work it backwards. All right, so where are you at currently? What's the goal? How much time does that involve to get in your books to achieve that goal? What does that look like when we work it backwards with cost per lead, cost per acquisition? If we have the data, otherwise we go off benchmarks, and then we can work out, all right, sweet, you have the capacity to take on X amount of people, which would potentially equate, say, $20,000 extra a month, but it's only going to probably cost you $6,000 for the month to achieve a result like that of our estimations. Well, sweet. Well, that's a pretty good return then. Why not give it a crack?
Yeah, so they need more of a capacity to be able to take on more work.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's nearly twice that you've
that's pretty. Yeah, I've saved. That's the advice I'll give any tradie that comes to me now.
Wow.
Because I've had tradies come to me in the past and they're like, "Oh, you want to look at marketing, want to grow?" Well, it's then. Then they want to stop the marketing because they've feel there's too much.
Do you think that goes back to like the default thing that we're talking about? They maybe just like they have this like maybe influx of motivation for that day, and they go, you know what, I'm going to take. I think
it's that, and maybe just not understanding. Like they're like, oh fuck, I'd like to have a bit more work, without thinking about by feeling that, what it's going to cost to get that extra work. Is it really worth it?
Yeah.
But there's heaps of free shit you can do then too. It's like, referrals, previous customers, pass on a referral to other people.
Do you find you have that a lot as well, that you can just help them out with the free and like just little tweaks that are going to make them money?
Tweaks, yeah, no doubt. But then even then we get some guys that I'll give the free advice to, which should probably fill them up, but they don't want to do it. So then they end up, taking us on for marketing as well. So that still works for them. They might not be as profitable because they could probably fill that gap by just implementing a referral system, an EDM sequence after it. Like what we're looking at setting up for Bailey with the aircons, rather than market that low ticket item, which is servicing your aircon every 6 or 12 months, set up emails every 6 or 12 months as a reminder to your clients. So you'd have to put any ad spend or any ads to it. You've literally, and you type up the emails if you really wanted to. Obviously we're doing it for him because he's taking us on for other services, but just by having that that set up in the back end might fill that extra amount, and it's cost you nothing. Plus, it might cost you too much.
Let's just explain this quickly. So what Levi's explaining is that he's setting up a system so that it sends out an automatic reminder for, is it a clean?
Clean or service, yeah.
So when an aircon installer comes in, they install the aircon, but what I didn't know, and I've learned this from Bailey, is that those aircons have to be cleaned.
Correct.
And what I also didn't realize is how regularly. So what Levi's explaining there is that someone coming to Levi and looking to get, and just having a meeting with him, which is completely free, that he's advice to Bailey, which is no ad spend and no cost of his own, is that a reminder, simply setting a reminder to get that cleaned, and then that is going to generate heaps more business for himself.
Yeah.
But there's heaps of little things like that you can continue as well. I just wanted to try and get it like simplistic.
Yeah. So that, identifying if there's any gaps in the process already that are going to help. So that's one. That obviously applies to services that require additional work throughout the lifetime of that product or service being live with the customer. But yeah.
So that's a gap in a process.
That's a gap in a process.
Then you can also look at gaps in sales.
Gaps in
and
sales.
This is a huge one. Is that I forget what the statistic is of the callback.
Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head.
But is it like 30%?
I think it was like 40% or 60%. On the 5th or 6th call, you'll get the sale.
Okay, so just by a business coming to you, having a meeting with yourself, and just having a sales background, and I've got that as well, is that we know client inquires, and that you go, oh, okay, I'm going to call this client. And they go, yeah, we just wanted some information. Yep, blah, blah, blah. And you put the phone down.
Yeah.
Just you calling them back up to 5 times can increase your, let's just use a ballpark number of 30%. That can increase your revenue by 30%.
Oh, for sure.
And all that would happen there is that you talk to Levi and they sit down and you create a structure that you call your clients back. So simple.
So simple.
But it's exactly what you just did with that process, is that just reminding them to have the clean gets you the clean of the business.
100%. And they've already used you, so they already trust you as well. So it's a warm audience.
100%. And that's what you said before, the lowest hanging fruit.
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, same gaps in the sales process. Follow-up is a massive one with a lot of the businesses we work with. People just don't like calling people. But I get it. They're in industries where they're not salespeople. They're, specialists in their own field or work that they do. But at the same time, it's like, you could dramatically increase your total sales or total amount of jobs you have booked by just implementing a simple sales process within your business to help close more deals. And that's where we still get on the phone sometimes to help our tradies and stuff, and be like, all right, sweet, where are they up to? Well, what was the last conversation about? All right, sweet, how much can we play with? Is there any urgency that need the job done sooner or later? Because they, a lot of the angles that we try is stuff that they haven't naturally spoken about either. So like adding urgency because they want the job done by a certain date. Can we do that for them versus the competitors? Perfect. Let's use that as an angle to get the sale. Or it might be, the roofing guys, it's raining at the moment. It's a bit wet season. So can you smash out the roof in 2 days? Well, that means yes, well, there's less risk of then it raining to then water coming through the roof. That's a selling point that the other guys aren't using as well.
You're almost just looking at it with fresh eyes.
Fresh eyes, yeah, for sure. But yeah, sales in the gaps. And then there's also looking at helping people with even, if they're chasing the tail with cash flow all the time. This comes down to e-commerce is, increase your ordering frequency with your manufacturers. Rather than doing big bulk orders because you're getting a percent, getting a discount because it's a bigger order. Well, if you increase the frequency of that order, one, your outgoings for those orders are less. So it keeps you a little bit more money in the bank.
So you're saying like instead of the bulk amount order, you're saying do smaller orders
more frequently. If you are chasing your tail all the time for cash flow and trying to, and you're always running out of stock. If you're buying 4 times a year big orders and it's costing you more and it's leaving the bank account empty in the business account, well, if you increase the frequency of those orders, even though it might cost you a little bit more up front, doesn't matter because you're going to be able to adjust to marketing trends a lot easier because you're ordering more frequently, but it's also going to decrease your monthly outgoings because it's not one big bill at the end of every quarter that you have to account for.
Makes so much sense.
Yeah.
I've fallen victim to this one as well.
Yeah.
Another thing that you can do and that you helped me out with is that you can actually get credit through Facebook and Instagram to run ads.
Payment terms, actually, that's another one too. Yeah. Learning how to structure your payment terms on, like, say, for a business credit card.
Oh, yeah, payment terms.
Payment terms, and the same with the Facebook. You can't do Facebook straight off the bat.
No.
That's just a feature people get once you've got an account that they trust that you pay your bills on time all the time.
Oh, okay.
But it is something that you can get. But in saying that, if you had a business credit card that has, X amount of days of no interest.
Yeah.
Well, that means you can float yourself for 30 days, get no interest. And like you could use one like an Amex card where it's actually racking you up points at the same time.
That's scary though. Like if you're starting out.
You got to be smart about it.
But that's not a bad idea when we go back to the person who asked about the free advice is that you could get a business credit card. Don't spend a heap.
Yeah.
Oh, this is scaring me even giving this piece of advice, but you could pay for your ads off of that business credit card. Just make sure that you're getting the return.
The money goes straight, but 100%.
Yeah, but you could start like that, and then that's actually how I started. I did the business credit card that ran my Facebook ads, and then I eventually got Facebook so you can get a credit.
Terms, yeah.
And after a while, they actually increase that credit.
Correct.
But the mistake I made is I would try so hard to get that credit all the way down, and I'd leave myself no money. Mm-hmm. Now I just chip it down, and I have.
Keeps you healthier.
Yeah.
A bit less stress in the bank accounts too.
Yeah, and it's hard to sit with that for a little while, like having like money owing. I think if you're running a business, you got to be okay.
With money on 100%. Yeah, no doubt.
Feel that crash hot.
Yeah.
But, all right, so we've got the sales, just the callback, you got the process. Now, one of the ones through marketing is the mistake that I made and that you showed me was that someone could be running their ads and the ad could actually have used the audience up and it's still spending.
Yeah, so that would be a frequency rate on the ads.
Yeah.
So that would be just changing creative and testing optimizing. Because if once the same ad's been presented to the same person so many times, like it's going to have no effect. It's if the results are dropping and the frequency rate's high, that's going to be a reason why the ads aren't performing. So it's changing that up frequently enough and managing that frequency rate. So it's keeping it fresh and engaged with the creative that you put out.
So many points here, bro. Like for someone to just come and like have a chat with you, like we haven't even got to the point where someone would sign up with you.
Yeah.
You've got like you're showing all the different points, but that marketing one's a perfect one. When you're starting, that was a huge lesson that I learned.
Well, that's why I don't always recommend boosting posts because you can't manage that data.
But that was my first fuck.
Yeah. Boosting posts did work years ago. I think you would have seen it. I know a lot of people saw success.
Like 6 years ago, 7 years ago, boosting posts was insane.
It was good.
Crazy. Now, nothing.
Now, nothing.
Even 3 years ago,
or they might spike it a little bit at the start.
Yeah,
trick into it.
Yeah, what you got to realize is Facebook and Instagram want you to think that works because they want you to keep paying.
No doubt. That's the trick. And that's like even like with the ad spend. If you're a new ad account, don't just dump all your money into a daily spend straight away. Scale it up slowly because if you let the machine learning that you have this budget to spend, it's going to get whatever result it can.
Is that the same with Google?
Same with Google, yeah, all of them. Yeah.
What would be the incremental rises when you're so what Levi's talking about is how much you spend on your ads. Don't spend a lot straight away. Spend a little bit and then just keep increasing.
Yeah, spend a little bit or have a budget for the month. So most service-based business we work with will say $1,500 minimum. That gives you about, I think it's $50 a day off memory. Yeah, $50 a day. And then split that across your strategy and then only scale if you need to, or even start at $30 a day and scale to that 50 over the month to see what the results are. And don't
you
just
mean
go.
By you need to, like if you're maybe not getting the amount of sales that you want, or
what for scaling?
Yeah,
you only scale if you haven't not getting the amount of leads or sales that you want. That would be the only reason to scale. If you're getting enough leads to do enough sales, well, there's no point in scaling.
It's really the goal, isn't it? You're trying to spend as less and get the most amount of people.
Correct, yeah. And then by gradually scaling that budget, it makes the machine learning and the platform work for your budget rather than you just dumping money into it and just getting whatever result it gets.
Yeah.
Things are changing slowly. I know then that doesn't apply as much now with e-com. I've been able to scale ads quite drastically and hard with the new structures that we use.
Yep.
But that's just because it's not that old top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel stuff anymore. Yeah.
Yes, there's a lot of good free information that you're giving out there. I think sometimes I guess maybe it's probably hard for somebody to like stop and have that chat as well and be like, oh, hey, can we talk about my business? Hey, Levi. Hey, bro. Like, do you mind if we sit down and have a chat? Like,
they might be a bit nervous or scared, or they want to. I guess I don't know.
Do it themselves, maybe.
But yeah, always feel free to reach out and like ask questions. That's all we're here for.
Yeah. To give that free value. Yeah, that's cool, man. So how's what's on the cards 2024?
2024. Well, we're about to go live with our campaigns for S&P clinics overseas. So hopefully have that going next week. We've also just partnered with HubSpot, which is a big CRM system provider. So we're obviously to help us target more of the businesses that was the ideal customer for New Way to start with. But obviously digital marketing and these small businesses just took off. So we sort of just put a lot more focus on them. But now going for those bigger corps, those bigger organizations where we can actually come in, train a sales team, set up their CRM system, set up their flows. Sort of pretty much exactly what we did with Genesis when me and Steve were there.
So go back a step. So you're focusing on more bigger fish just because it basically what you're saying is before is that the smaller fish almost can get away with just having a free consultation with you, and that's going to be enough value for them to sort of keep going.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. And more so just because I guess the driving factor and the motivator for New Way was to be business growth consultants, not a digital marketing agency, even though all of our digital marketing clients get everything else anyway.
Yeah, there's a lot of value. That's probably something to explain too, is that if you're taking on like someone, I took on a guy who did, Facebook and Instagram ads, worked out terribly, but he's a guy who does Facebook and Instagram ads.
Yep.
Or like if you've got someone who builds your website, he's a guy who builds a website.
Yep.
But with you guys, it's all encompassing. It's all areas of the business.
Yeah, that would be the biggest point of difference. And I think this is going to happen for most media buyers. If you just specialize in Facebook and Instagram ads or just Google, it's getting that easy to actually set up ads that if the business owner actually took the time to set them up, you're not going to have a job. And that's where you're going to have either upskill to have a different approach. Like your creative might be just absolutely stunning. Your hooks, everything you create on a creative level is great. And that's what they're paying you for. But people can make their own ads now. And media buyers will be dead.
Yeah.
They're not going to be something in the future because businesses will be able to do it themselves. But that going back to the point of difference in New Way, our goal was to be, it's not just marketing just took off. There was more to help businesses scale and grow with infrastructure, processes, SOPs, all the rest of it. So that's what the type of clients that we're going after now, bigger fish, and just more fulfilling work, really.
So you little fish, you fucking lost your chance.
No, it's still going to be
It's too late.
That's always going to be there. And that's what what we've just been training Karen on with the Facebook ads.
Yep.
She'll take over on a lot of the, just the more basic clients, which is just lead gen and, basic Facebook ads and Google ads stuff.
Does that excite you more as well? Like
What's
the idea of having like the bigger fish to manage, because like the bigger challenges, you get to, I guess, use more of your skill set.
More of the skill set. And, we've got some half decent clients at the moment where we're building those systems for them. Like as much as I might not like building it, but once it works and you've been able to optimize this part of the business that they have, whether it's from lead to sale to inquiry and having everything set up where it's automated, that's cool. It's going to save them money and time, that whole system. It's definitely more fulfilling. But also the bigger guys that have the budgets, they have marketing budgets. They have budget to invest in their business to scale. It's not, we can only spend $3,000 this month on ads. Well, that's not how marketing works. If the results there, you spend more. Don't be defensive, be offensive with your marketing. That's the way you got to look at it. If you came to a business and said, I only want to spend X amount, well, you don't know how marketing works. You have a starting budget, but that budget will scale according to the results if you're in it for the right reasons.
There's not a set number.
No, there's not a set number. Unless the only set number, what works. Like for you, a little bit different. Like we found out that, the max we can really spend across all platforms is like $3,500, $4,500. Just because when you're spending that much, it's getting X amount of leads and it's getting X amount of jobs for you.
Yeah.
Spend more, well, people are probably not going to book because it's too far out in advance. So there's no point.
And I think that also comes back to how I've wanted to design things with you. Like I've been like, look, I want to scale up, but I want to scale to this point.
Yeah.
I don't want to scale past that. Like for me, it's
10 sessions a week now.
10 sessions a week that's me.
Yeah.
I don't want to be, I saw someone on Instagram saying 15 or 17 sessions a week that they're doing. Like maybe you are, maybe you aren't, good on ya. But like, for me, that's just
wouldn't be sustainable.
That's not sustainable. Yeah. I don't believe that's sustainable. But also as well, it's just the life I want to live is 10.
Yeah.
Like anything outside of that,
it goes back to that life by design,
dude. And I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
I'm happy with 10 because then I can do a podcast. I go to the gym in the morning. We go for like morning walks. Get to catch up with my mates on a Sunday. And outside of 10, God, like the phone calls and the content and everything else, it's a lot of time.
Yeah, it's a lot of time invested for sure.
Yeah, and that's that life by design. But yeah, so going back to you and the big fish, one of the things you said there is a CRM system.
Yeah.
Something, do you want to explain like what a CRM system is? Because like I'm trying to make all these things, strip these down to the most simplistic form. So what is a CRM system and
how does it work? So CRM is a customer relationship manager. There's a fair few out there now that you can use. HubSpot, Zoho, NetSuite, Salesforce, there's heaps. But essentially all it is, it's a system that you can set up that captures your leads. You log every phone call, you log every future task so you don't forget. So you can manage that process from inquiry to a sale effectively. And you don't forget to call customers and follow them up like a lot of businesses do. But they take time to set up. So that's, setting them up to be a good fit for the business and their process, because that's going to vary for everyone. So that's what a CRM system is.
And like how many inbound clients until you would go over to a CRM?
I'd be, with how they're priced now, like you can probably get away with a half decent one for about 150 to 200 a month. A basic CRM. I'd be going from the get-go.
I can just see some like small businesses screaming at $200 a month.
Yeah, if they haven't got that, well then it's look, some of the guys that we work with, we've set them up on CRMs, don't like it. All right, well, you can go through that list of 200 leads on a spreadsheet and mark them and put notes against them. If that's easier for you, go for it. Like you're still getting a result, so I'm happy. If you like the way that works. But yeah, Excel spreadsheet, Google Sheet. We set up automations. So like as soon as a lead comes through on Google website or Facebook, it automatically gets logged into a Google Sheet. So details are there, they're tracked, they're logged. We've set up custom columns so they can track, whether it was good lead, bad lead. If they end up selling the product or service to the lead, so we can see what the revenue was, what the cost of that service was, so we can see what the profit was.
It's tracking.
Just tracking. Yeah. What you don't track, you can't measure. So how do you know the things that you're doing are performing and giving you a return without tracking the shit?
Yeah.
Just that you can't.
And that's something I think inherently you like doing as well, is tracking and measuring stuff.
Oh, for sure. You have to. But you can't make an educated choice on scaling a business if you're not tracking it.
100%.
There's no doubt.
There's statistics that you know about my business that I'm like, oh, is that right?
Yeah. No, it's cool. Yeah.
Because it's like that's what you do, and that's how you are as well. You're like that. You and Steve as well. It's like spreadsheets and keeping on track.
Not as bad as Steve.
Not as bad as Steve. Steve's like a spreadsheet extraordinaire. But
his bed sheets of spreadsheets.
His spreadsheets of but that's I think another benefit to having New Way is if you don't have that side of you, you have to do it. But when you employ New Way, you have that. And what you're talking about with the CRM system is that's just writing down all the details of the people that inquire.
Yeah, and to manage those metrics. So if you're getting 10 leads through the door, well, and you only close 3, you can look at the end of the month, I got 30% closing ratio.
Yeah, I changed something.
Well, 30% is not too bad.
Yeah.
But it's only 10 leads. All right, let's increase the marketing because we still have gaps that we want to fill. It's all numbers. And I think that's the biggest thing you have to track, especially, I guess we do it because it's we like tracking everything, but it also, numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
If someone says, "Oh, I'm not getting the result," or it hasn't increased,
and you got the numbers there.
The numbers are here. Like they don't lie.
You can't argue with this.
You can't argue with it. So it's also, I guess, a bit of a security for us as well. But we like setting goals and setting objectives that we want to achieve. So that gives us something to aim for.
Yeah, and it definitely saves time, because I remember when I was doing my own logging of my leads. Once you get to about 50 clients, you go in for the day and you sit down and you look at an Excel spreadsheet that has 50 names and numbers on there. Man. Dude, that's going to, and then you go through and you got to like look through your notes, then go down each individual person. It's taking you so long. Whereas the CRM system, you log in. I've got Keep at the moment. You log in and you see your tasks for the day. You might.
It's organized.
Yeah, heaps more organized.
Time saving.
Definitely something that for a business. Oh yeah, bro. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's it.
You got a motivational quote?
Motivational quote.
What do you got on for today?
What have I got on today? We've got finish off building up the system for one of our clients, TFD. Then
what's TFD?
Fight dietitian.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so UFC fight dietitian.
Nice.
So it's cool business, about 4 dietitians, and just setting up their CRM, setting up their automations, their flows, all the rest of it.
So the guys who's making food, he needs a CRM as well.
Well, no, he's a dietitian. So he's essentially like a fitness coach, but with much better degrees and knowledge on nutrition because of the high level athletes that they work with. But what else have I got on today? And then outside of that is set up this campaign for overseas.
What about for all the people out there who want to start their startup?
Advice for someone
sitting there, they're going, fuck, Levi, bro, I'm sitting here. Oh, I just finished my shift.
Go get a job if you're not currently working in the role for the startup idea that you have. Learn on the job. I would say that's a big reason why New Way's here today, is because I did sales, sold cars, sold workshop equipment, learned how to market in the process, learned business in the process, scaling a startup. The only reason why I'm doing what I'm doing now and New Way was a startup is because I put myself in the trenches. And if New Way hadn't started and I would have done another job after Genesis, it would have been working for a big marketing agency so I could learn the ropes and take everything I need so I could do it on my own anyway.
You're literally getting paid to try the thing that you
Correct, 100%. Like I said, what's the best place to start? Well, get a job that you have 104 days off per year, every weekend. So that's your standard 9 to 5. So if you've got a 9 to 5 job, you've got time to invest in anywhere else.
I think it just explore your interests as well.
Yeah, explore, try, test, but then also know there's going to be a line where it's not working and being able to pull away. Don't let that passion or that ego because I told myself it's going to work. If you've tried everything as well, there's also that fine line where it's like, maybe it's not a product market fit.
Yeah, I guess that's a sort of a self-assessment thing as you go through.
Well, it's hard. A lot of people give up too easy.
Yeah.
But then you got the minority too that will probably just go too hard and be like, nah, it's good. But maybe just people don't want the service or product that you're trying to offer.
And then this like opens up like a whole bigger span of conversation too, because it's like there's so many things to look at. Like this, looking at your friend circle, looking at your relationship, looking at your relationship with your family, and it's like sometimes you could probably do something that you do enjoy doing, but you could have life getting you down so much that you can't even realize that you actually you are enjoying what you're doing. That
too, yeah.
Like circumstance as well. Like if you're if you're working, let's say, for example, on a job site or a barbershop or in a tattoo studio, and you're working with 5 arseholes, you're probably going to feel...
enjoy it. It's the environment at the end of the day.
And it might be the environment, not the people. So I think sometimes as well, if you can get yourself out of that environment and maybe try the thing a little bit, you might see that you do enjoy it, and that the thoughts that you're having are maybe a bit more external.
From your surroundings, 100%.
Well, it's your surroundings, but it's also you.
Yeah.
Like, it's like... the way I see that is setting higher standards for yourself and valuing your energy more and more. Because, like, the thought that pops into my head is all the different things I've fucking tried. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think I was trying to fix sort of like an internal problem by externally.
Yeah, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, it's sort of like I wasn't happy.
So you're trying to find it with all the things that you tried.
Well, it's like if I find something that I enjoy doing, it's like I was blaming it on the job.
Yeah, okay.
Or I was blaming it on, on my partner. Or I was blaming it on fucking circumstance, right?
Yeah.
Or blaming it on, you could call it depression.
Yeah.
Blaming it on whatever it could be. So, like, try your interests, but I guess that self-improvement, that self-assessment journey's got to start as well, which is such a long one.
It's years. It's not going to happen overnight. If you're looking to change real quick, just change your environment too.
Yeah.
That'd be the biggest one.
You did that really fast too. Hey, moving up to the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
That was a big change.
I came up here for a holiday.
You came up here for a holiday?
Never left. That's how it went. I literally did come up for a holiday.
Yeah.
For a break from Sydney, and I never went back.
Wow, that's crazy.
7 years later.
That's good. That's the quickest way to get rid of your circumstances.
Yeah. I only realised it after. But change your environment.
The camera just turned off. All right, do you want to turn them on and we'll finish it up?
Is
that a battery?
Nah, it's not battery. I thought maybe.
Go on, Alex. Oh, that's a battery on this one.
Oh, is it? That's right. You got a fucking Easy Till show, can't Nathan Till show. Do you fucking finish?
Huh?
The Nathan Till show, anyway.
All right, easy, bro. Well, thank you for your chat today, man.
That's
we went through a lot of stuff. We did 2 hours.
There was a fair bit of value there, and I didn't forget too much.
Yeah, man. I think when we did the podcast last time, something that I said at the end and that was 9 months ago. I was like, yeah, we'll try and do this every other month because once we start talking, we open up like. This is what I said last time. I'm going to say it again. Like, just even sales, we could sit here and talk about sales, like what we've learned at Vonnie's, and I think that would bring a lot of value to a lot of people. We could even do that for an hour. There's so much.
We could even shorten it, make it more frequent.
Yeah, shorten it, make it more frequent. And that's what I'd say to people watching at home. It's like you see us like trying to get into each of these subjects and give you a little nugget, but the biggest takeaway from all of this is just to start those processes. And
action has been the biggest thing I think I've realized over the last 3 months with the ups and downs. New Way last year is thinking about it too much delays anything. You're best off starting now, making the mistake early, fail hard, fail fast. And that's the fastest way to learn.
And every time I've met someone who is achieving quite highly, there is such a small amount of time in between the thought and the action.
100%.
It's almost like, I've got to do this, do it. There's no lag time. That's what I would say is that think about start, and all your day is going to be just you starting.
Yeah.
Every single time.
No doubt.
But yeah, so we've gone through a whole bunch of subjects here today. I hope that somebody got some valuable gems out of there. But I think, like I've said before, I think we should definitely do this again and delve into these subjects. And if there's any subjects that you want me to ask Levi about, you want us to talk about here, send me a DM. But the biggest kicker here too is just hit Levi up, have a chat, have a look at some of those low-hanging fruit, because there's heaps of value to be had, and you're not even paying for that.
Yep.
I think you'd be ridiculous to not.
No, that's all right.
Thanks for that.
Thank you, bro.